Coming up today on Locked On Texas Tech, all gravy for the Red Raiders in the non-conference finale. The passing game stretching its legs, and the defense continues to deliver. We're into it all next on Locked On Texas Tech.
You are Locked On Texas Tech, your daily podcast on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Great to be with you again on Locked On Texas Tech on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, always free and available on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts. And today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet only $5, and if your bet wins, you're getting $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today and get busy at FanDuel.com. With the only Chris Level, I'm Casey Cowan, back for a reaction edition of Locked On Texas Tech. Chris, now as we have a non-conference slate wrapped up, courtesy of a 45-14 win over the Beavers of Oregon State. Only felt like it took 8 hours to get it in. It was really about 6.5. Texas Tech experiencing another weather delay in week 3, which is just another added wrinkle to this for about 2 hours or so. They sit around after roughly 3.5 minutes of game time action in the first quarter. We head back to the locker room. But when they did eventually return, Chris, it was coming up all roses for the Red Raiders. And I really thought in my immediate post-game reaction without having watched it back again last night, I said something to the effect that I thought all phases of the game were making some positive impact for Texas Tech, both sides of the ball. So we'll talk about some of what we saw offensively and defensively. Defensively, you just continue to deliver. And we got to see you getting busy in the turnover column. One guy in particular we'll get to. And, of course, offensively, huge day for Baron Morton in the passing game. I thought that was stretching its legs in a way that it really hadn't so far. So, Chris, we're here to take all of the above and more into consideration, man. How's it sitting with you now, sleeping on win number 3 for the Red Raiders?
Yeah, man, long day yesterday. I knew you and I were texting. It was like, man, this sucks. I can't remember. We've had a few around here, but it's like 2 weather delays in the span of 3 weeks around here is just absolutely wild. And I hate it for all involved because I think as you start that game yesterday, that place was juiced, and you can speak to that too. You had the flyover. I mean, it was a near capacity crowd. Oregon State is rattled. 2 false start penalties right out of the gate. They had 6 false start penalties the week before, and then it's 3rd and 1, and it's like, hey, why did we even start this thing if we were going to delay it 2 minutes in? But that's just the way it goes. And because you're concerned when everybody goes back in the locker room, is everybody going to come back? The fan wise, you've got to get your team revved back up again. And do you come out flat? Do you come? It's just difficult, and it's not. You ramp it all up, and then it's like, okay, well, time out. That's just not the normal athlete. Routine. And so, but to your point, man, I thought they handled that well. And there's different levels of adversity. I mean, at some point you're going to deal with football adversity where you're going to trail, or you're going to things you're trying to do are not going to work, or you just get punched in the mouth, whatever it is. But I thought this is some adversity that Joey kept talking about. And I don't disagree because it puts him in a tough spot too. He's got to get his guys revved back up, and he's probably stressed out, but they just went and sat in the locker room for basically 2 hours. I asked, we talked about that on the radio broadcast. It's like, okay, what was going on? He's like, man, we just get them in there, bring them down, get off their feet, stay stretched out. We had games on in the locker room, and then you give them something to eat or whatever, but then you gotta, again, as we talked about, but I thought the dime that they hit with Coy Aiken right out of the gate that Barron threw was just kind of set the tone, and you really never looked back. That's
kind of intentional to come out that way.
Well, it was 3rd and 1, and you were on the 41-yard line of Oregon State, and this was 2-down territory. You had 2 plays to get the 1 yard, but you converted the 3rd down right off the gate. But yeah, they were going to try to get it going.
Yeah.
That's
Let's
right.
Come up a little.
That's right. That's right. But Yeah, I thought Barron was really good yesterday. Outside of the one throw when he got pressured and just kind of lobbed it up, can't do that. He knows that. I think he was trusting because a lot of times, man, I'm going to trust my receiver, but he just, man, that was just a nice soft, pass that he just kind of lobbed up. And I was like, this is up in the air. I was standing right next to Dylan Cantrell. I also have something else to tell you about Dylan Cantrell, former Texas Tech wideout. But as soon as that lobbed up, Dylan was right next to me, and he goes, "Oh!" And then, sure enough, that's
those DB's eyes were getting big as saucers.
yeah, that's not what you want to see. But he's trusting his guys to go up and get it. He's got a bunch of tall wideouts and all those things. But the one thing that I know that they wanted that they did not get, and I don't know what you do about it. It's just, but these are hard these days. But you really wanted, I think, to shut those guys out, and you were really close. Yes. But your second/third team guys at the end couldn't hold out their first team because they never pulled starters. This was their first team offense, and you had second and third team guys on defense, but they score a couple times late, and is what it is. But that's really the only blemish that you have, other than just that it just sucked for a variety of fans that just had to endure a 2-hour delay, and some I think just said, "Hey man, I'm going to go home." So and I get it because sure. and you were like me. It's funny, my man Cowan here. It's like he's the most loved man in Lubbock, Texas. However, except for when he's like, "Ladies and gentlemen, we've got to," and then it's boo. Nobody wanted to hear from you with the, but it's not your fault. You're just the messenger. So
forgive them. They know not what they boo. It's all good. I'm not taking it personally, but the wife and kids are beginning to. So really think about that. Maybe next time you're booing the public address announcer. That was frustrating to say the least, but it didn't look like there were any ill effects from Texas Tech's standpoint when they got back to the field. I thought it seemed like maybe Reggie Virgil specifically was somebody that they wanted to kind of target and get going. I don't know. Maybe that's just something I'm taking too much out of. But really the passing game in general, Chris, you mentioned it. He's got some big targets, some long targets. He's got some dynamic targets. I mean, Terrence Carter, again, we see getting busy with the ball in his hands. Jacoby Williams as a pass catcher getting busy with the ball in his hands. So I was talking a little bit on the patio post-game experience I share with the Matador Mob following the game last night, Chris, about the fact that maybe I'm beginning to warm up to the idea of an evolved kind of offensive orientation. If you can always root it in a reliable ground game that can get you what you need when everybody knows you need it, and that's how you're going to try to get it, then that's great. I think that is ideal. That is optimal for any offense. But I'm kind of looking at what we're seeing here so far and wondering if maybe those ball carriers are going to have some room to run because of what some of these pass catchers are doing down the field in other situations. So maybe it's going to be oriented a little bit more through the air than I'm accustomed to with Taj Brooks and that kind of era we're coming out of. I don't know, but I just thought the passing game was just showing off at various points, and that was fun to watch.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that as the week goes along, because I think it'll be pretty tough to run it against Utah, which is intentional. I think that's, and so we'll kind of see what that matchup looks like as we go. But I think in this particular game versus Oregon State, I think they felt like, this was something we noted on the broadcast too. They felt like they had really good matchups with Oregon State on the outside. I think they really wondered if their safeties and their linebackers could cover. Not corners per se, but this is where I think, we had noted that it could be a big day for your tight ends and your running backs out of the backfield catching the ball. Well, guess what?
First, today's episode brought to you by The Game. Quick question for all you college football fans out there. If you could go back in time, sit front row at your school's biggest rivalry game, say in the 80s or the 90s, what hat do you see yourself wearing? Could it be this slick-looking lid I'm rocking right now from The Game? Yes, that's the correct answer. It would definitely be this one. These aren't just hats. They're the vintage Americana we grew up with, the same style fans wore in the days of our youth. And guess what? they still go for the same price now that they did back then. Just go to thegamecaps.com and use our code locked on, and you're getting this classic tech cap for only $16.99. Again, that's at thegamecaps.com with our promo code locked on for this vintage Red Raider lid and a whole lot more for only $16.99 right now at thegamecaps.com. Grab your team's classic bar or circle retro design and use our code locked on for an exclusive discount, because legends only wear the game. Today's episode brought to you by 5 Hour Energy, and it's time to fuel up and turn it up with 5 Hour Energy Transfusion. This grape ginger and lime flavored shot brings the iconic taste of a golf course favorite to a non-alcoholic boost, making it a hole-in-one for your energy game when you're out on the course, or if you're needing just a little extra push anytime to power through your day. 5 Hour Energy Transfusion delivers the clubhouse flavor you love without ever leaving the green. Now you can amp up the fun even more. Just buy, snap, and enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for 2 to any golf tournament in the USA. Visit 5HE, that's 5FIVEHE win.com for full rules and entry. 5HEwin.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary. Excludes the Masters tournament. Ends October 31st, 2025.
You know, we had noted that it could be a big day for your tight ends and your running backs out of the backfield catching the ball. Well, guess what?
Mm-hmm.
I think Mac Leftwich, he knew what he was looking at, because that's exactly what happened, and they just struck. That's the beauty of what you've tried to put together here. You should have an answer. Again, the Quentin Joyner thing is still frustrating to me, because I think you're seeing what Jacoby Williams can do. And as we have noted on this show, I just hate it, because I feel like you're not going to really truly get to see all that they had in the works, just because he's now one of the most valuable players on your entire team because of his ability to run it and do the different things. But I think there would be some more bells and whistles that you would be able to see. But
and the return game, like you've mentioned several times too.
Yeah. And just more out of the backfield, more in the slot, because it's hard to cover everybody. You just have legit proven experience at a lot of places, and it's like you can't cover them all. So I because that's what I noted to you after the game. I was like, man, Terrence and Jacoby they're problems for people when you get the right kind of matchups, and that's up to Coach Leftwich to try to exploit that and get them, whether it's motion or, because like the one pass that Carter caught on the north end zone, where he kind of caught it at the back of the end zone and then ran into a giant speaker.
When he did the toe tap.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Yep. Which is
a beauty.
Yes, it was. But he was lined up like in the backfield, and he just kind of.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't remember that. Okay.
Yeah, he was like in a not in a traditional. It was like kind of like an up back, like fullback off to the side, kind of in that spot. And he just. But it's those kinds of things where it kind of creates some confusion on, okay, who's got him, and is he? Because I think he initially kind of like fake like he's going to block him, and then here he goes, and he just wheel route or whatever you want to call it.
He just athleted him,
and he is.
And that's his position, right? I don't know what to call this guy at this point, other than athlete.
X factor, hybrid, H position. I mean, there's a variety of different things he can do. And after talking to him on Joey's show last week, I just love the guy. He is. He's awesome. He's the one that he was like, versus Kent State. I just have never played in front of this many people before. And like when I was wide open and I dropped it, the crowd got really loud. So he's like, next time I'm wide open, could y'all just like kind of keep it down a little bit? And maybe, he was joking, of course, but
we were getting excited too.
Yes. But he's a problem, and he's a physical problem. There was a shoulder issue with him. He's going to be okay. They come over there and they look at him, and I know people were kind of asking me about it and all that. He's going to play next week. I don't think there's any. Will he show up on the now Big 12's availability report? I'm sure, as some category, but I don't expect him to miss any time at all. He was smiling giving away his gloves to kids after the game. I mean, it's just like big fan of that young man.
Chris,
go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just gonna say, like Jacoby, man, how can you not love that dude? I mean, it's just like he's got all the juice. I mean, all of it, and hand it to him, throw it to him, just trying to run over people, run around them. I mean, I just could watch him run and make plays, but he's just like this kind of player that you've been missing for, it feels like many, many years, because it's like he's a play waiting to happen, and he's a threat to take it anytime he touches it. And what he showed yesterday, I noticed a lot of it being intentionality about just being patient. On the one screen where he catches it on, I think it was 3rd and 26, and he scores on that screen pass, but it's like he just waited for the cavalry and he rode him right into the end zone. I mean, and I wanted
to ask you about that, Chris, for the ball carriers specifically. And I sort of want to compartmentalize this and table the bigger picture O-line conversation for tomorrow's episode, because there's a whole lot going on there. So I want to allot the appropriate amount of time for that. But the ground game, specifically the ball carriers, I thought we saw, I said it on the post game as well, like Cameron Dickey a few different times. I'm thinking, well, that's a more patient Cameron Dickey, I think, than what we had seen recently. And I know that was a point of emphasis. Something else I talked about was when the fur gets to flying, adversity strikes, 3rd down in the 4th quarter on the road, you may revert to instinct. So I'll be curious to see how that continues to play out as these young backs mature. But I think we saw that the point of emphasis must have resonated with them a little bit. Both Williams, not only as a ball carrier but a pass catcher, but I thought Dickey a few times as well.
I think this was something we talked about on the show last week, about this was kind of the message they were getting from Garrett McGuire. And this was Jacoby and Cam basically saying this last week when they met with the media. And, this was something else we talked about on the radio broadcast, is like Coach Leftwich was like, it's not natural for young ball carrier. Like, you're a running back. And so to tell them to stop or to slow down is not normal, but the little things matter at this level. And let these guys do their job. Let the guys in front of you kind of set it up. And then you kind of, because Taj was a master at it, almost to the point where I think fans last year, I remember some fans going, why is he, like, he needs to get going. Like, what is he doing? Exactly.
He's dancing.
But it's all intentional. He's waiting for the defensive lineman or his offensive lineman to tell him which way to go. And he's going to use, the defensive line's leverage or whatever against him. It's like, okay, stutter, look around. Okay, you're going this way. I'm going this way. But this was Garrett McGuire's, I think. Garrett's a really good coach. I've had so many people reach out to me that, that are in other programs and the guys that have worked here before that have are aware of Garrett and all those things, that have just said he's a really good coach. Yes, he's young. Yes, I know he's Coach McGuire's kid and all that stuff, who's recently engaged, by the way. So shout out to Garrett and his new lovely bride. They got engaged at, I think at Las Brisas maybe on Thursday night. So congratulations to the young couple there. But I think that these were two players that listened to their coach last week, and you saw it. And I think it was intentional on their part, and it looked pretty good to me because it was noticeable. That's kind of the game within the game a little bit. Instead of just getting it and just trying to go, you were intentional about, okay, just pause for a second, just slow down, and it worked. It wasn't perfect. This will be a work in progress, but these are two true sophomore running backs that I think are still kind of figuring it out. But the talent is there, and I think that this offensive line, which we'll talk about on tomorrow's show a little bit, is still a work in progress as well. So, but I liked that. I definitely noticed it, and I think that I'm glad that we kind of are highlighting it here, because this is players listening to their coach, and it worked in front of us for all to see.
Before we wrap it up with just another almost picture perfect kind of day defensively. First, today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet only $5, and if your bet hits, you're getting $300 in bonus bets to use all across the app. Play your props, building a same-game parlay, or even jumping in live as the action unfolds. Any way you like it, FanDuel has you covered, and it's quick, easy, and secure every time. Ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. Before we wrap it up with just another almost picture-perfect kind of day defensively. Nothing's ever perfect, but you get the idea. That is a sight for sore eyes, and it remains that way once again defensively. Wanted to give a shout-out because you were touching on guys like Jacoby Williams or Terrence Carter, just when they get the ball in their hands anywhere on the field. Look out, and maybe the best to ever do it in that regard in red and black. He is Tech's all-time leading receiver, Jakeem the Dream Grant, in Jones AT&T Stadium over the weekend. Man, it was good to see that guy. And, yeah, he did it as well as anyone I can remember, at least in a modern era, to where it didn't matter where he was going to start out when the ball was snapped. You better know, and you better already have it figured out who's got what. Because he's going to be on the move and on the move quickly, man. Maybe they can take a page out of that, just continue to roll that sort of trend. But it was cool to see Jakeem banging Bertha.
Yeah. I actually went up and put him on the air right before he was ringing that drum. We got to watch the flyover together with those two unbelievable helicopters. But Jakeem was. And it's cool because I talked to Jakeem, I talked to Pete Robertson, who's an OG around here too, legit, played for the Redskins when they were still the Redskins. Saw Dylan Cantrell as well, but it's really fun to see these former players that are not too far removed come back and look at what has been put together, not just roster wise, but they just look up at like that South End Zone complex and just are like. And I'm like, it's really because of these guys and because of, some of the moments that have been here that when you were legit or making some noise and you're trying to take this next step. But, yeah, Jakeem, man, that was he was your version of like, remember Dominique Wilkins' nickname back in the day for the Atlanta Hawks? He was like the human highlight film, I think was his nickname, which I was like, that's one of the greatest nicknames ever for any athlete. And that's kind of what I like Jakeem. Because nothing he ever did was normal. It was always stop, go. I'm gonna, like reverse field. I mean, just whatever. Nothing that he did was normal, and that's what made him so much fun. And when you put him with a guy like Mahomes, look out, and that's what we saw. But I even had Dylan Cantrell go, "Hey man, who's number 7?" I was like, "That's Terrence Carter." He's like, "He is a problem." He's like, he just sticks out in every game that I watch. I'm like, yeah. And so real recognize real. When these guys, they know what it looks like. So I think it's funny because Jacoby's got a little Jakeem. I think that Dylan Cantrell sees a little himself, and a guy like Terrence Carter is just big physical kind of mismatch type wideout or tight end as it would be here. But that's what's a lot of fun. And you want to talk about like Pete Robertson looking at defensive line guys. I mean, let's talk about those dudes. I don't know if you've been tested yet, and you probably haven't, and you're going to get a major, major test this coming week. But there's been nothing that we have seen that says these guys were overhyped. They're not what we thought. They're I don't know. I mean, no, it's been, and again, it's all about context and the competition to this point. And the tougher tests are coming, better quarterbacks are coming, more mobile quarterbacks are coming. But man, you get caught in a 3rd and 8 against these dudes, and I worry that because the one hiccup that you've seen is when somebody calls a screen, and that's what has gotten you because they're using your aggressiveness against you. But that's really the only time I've seen somebody just get away with it is like snapping and just like, okay, let me find somebody to get it too quickly, and then the rush is too far upfield. But Romello Height, he's a problem. I think he has flashed as much as anybody off the edge to this point in the season. David Bailey got him a sack lunch, with the quarterback Malik Murphy yesterday, and then the one play, it was one of your interceptions in the red zone, or no, it was on your end of the Oregon State's end of the field, I should say. but like Lee Hunter, AJ Holmes, and I think Romello Height all basically like came down on this QB. He throws it up. Bryce Pollock intercepts it. And Lee Hunter with a big old smile on his face, or it was Skylar Gill Howard. It wasn't AJ Holmes, but they couldn't get up. They were on top of each other. They were trying to stand up and celebrate, but they kept falling over each other. But then Lee Hunter, when he finally got up, he ran over to Pollock and got the ball so he could hand it to the referee with a big smile on his face. And I was like, this is just like a defensive party like we haven't seen before. So I'm again, tougher tests are coming, including this week, but it's been fun to watch those guys eat.
It's the new law firm, Gill Howard, Hunter, and Holmes. I mean, I'm into it, and I'm loving seeing those three guys on the field at the same time. It seems like when they spin down Curry a little closer to the line of scrimmage with either Height or Bailey on the other end, that I may be mixing up a name, but I saw that look a couple of times that I thought was kind of interesting. But it's just sort of take your pick as to who you've wanted to be blown away by through the first 3 weeks as a Tech fan, because I kind of started out week 1, Chris, on the edge. Holy cow, 31-9. These boys can get as soon as the ball is snapped. I mean, they are out like they're launched out of a cannon. And then it kind of got into, okay, I'm just going to focus in on the guys in the interior because holy crap, these are different size men than what we're accustomed to. And then you see, the secondary getting busy and Bryce Pollock with a pair of takeaways. So it's been a lot of fun on all levels to see plays made there. And clearly bigger tests are to come, but they've made it look like it should have looked. So we can say that. And like you said last week, you don't apologize for it.
Nope, not at all. And I don't want to gloss this over because I don't want this to become, and I don't know if in our entire audience pays attention to this kind of thing, but your next wave of potential law firm candidates, there was a lot of folks in the stands yesterday on official and unofficial visits and all those things. And I worried or wondered about that with this delay of this awkward Saturday. But I would tell you as we talk on a Sunday, keep your head on the swivel out there if you follow this news, because I think you got some good news coming. So there you go with some bigger humans. How about that?
That's what we need.
I knew you'd like that.
Shout out to the diminutive guys, but we're talking DTs, OTs, OGs, DEs, the Cs. You know, all the letters that make a difference on a college football Saturday. All right, Chris, appreciate your time, man, to react to this win. And now it is for real. Big 12 opener is coming up. Looking forward to getting ready for that one with you this week. I do want to revisit and get back to, as I said, a little longer conversation about what we've seen play out to the non-conference with the offensive line and what to expect there moving forward. And next time we reconvene, we'll have some top 25 rankings to process. So anticipating I suppose a top 20 matchup, at least in Salt Lake.
And there's also a new wrinkle in this offense that we saw that I wanted to touch on a little bit that I think was interesting to note. Okay. So I thought, okay, I see what we're doing here. But I wanted
Did you file it away, Chris?
Yeah, I wanted to elaborate on that a little bit. So because we will see it again, maybe quite a bit. So there you go.
Okay. All right, we'll get to that and a whole lot more coming up on the next episode. So hope to see you then. Get subscribed on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts so you never miss an episode. And of course, thank you to the everydayers for always riding along, and a shout out to the Matador Mob. Thanks for partying on the patio post game with me once again last night. And of course, if you're interested in joining that crew, you can hit the show notes and find a link to a free 14-day trial. That's your direct line to Chris and myself with one-on-one text sent straight to your phone. And I'll just say it now in case it happens again in the future. Chris will not invite you to the suite during a weather delay. Stop asking. It ain't going to happen, to quote Nick Saban.
My wife and kid were in the concourse waiting it out. Right. And like 30 minutes go by and we're trying to scramble. How long is this delay? Okay, what are we going to do? Do I need to go report on something? It's just scrambling. And like 30 minutes go by and I said, I can get you guys up here. Are you still here? My wife's like, we bailed because we weren't sure how long it was going to take. Right. And we had an issue with back at our house that anyway. And so I felt terrible. So yeah, I even fumbled it there with my own family. But hey man,
so don't feel bad, mobsters.
I know.
Even the
Yeah,
misses didn't make it upstairs.
I know, and I'm that's not a good person. On
I will say
Saturday
though that
afternoon.
we got into a bit of a deal here with the reports within the mob of the latest lightning strikes, and then I was getting reports of Casey, we're taking shots every time you report a lightning strike, and I was noticing the punctuation, the spelling, the grammar getting a little loose by the end of that weather delay. So thank you for riding through that with us again.
and to the row one people down there that I had 3 row one people like yelling at me every day or here.
Let's go.
Appreciate the this and that, man. Respect, salute.
Yes.
Thank you so much for consuming what Cowan and I do here, man. It's it's for you guys. So yeah, thank you so much. Shots, lightning strikes, and all, man. We're all one big happy family here.
And chopper flyovers, man. What an electric beginning to the day at the Jones. That was amazing. And I just hate that it got derailed, but let's do it all over again in a few weeks whenever they come back, and hopefully still got a goose egg in the loss column. That would be nice. Okay, we're just getting started. Big 12 opener on tap. So make sure you are ready to roll this week by being subscribed on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts. For Chris, I'm Casey. Thanks as always for the time. We hope to see you back for the next round on Locked On Texas Tech.